Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Auf Die Fresse, the WXW Review podcast in English. I'm Ian Hamilton, joined as always by Mike Kilby. Mike, unfortunately, of one of these episodes, it's not the kind of things we like to talk about, but this past Monday we lost another one from the world of European and German wrestling. Bad Bones John Klinger passing away at the age of 40.
Yeah, I'd say I think to kind of repeat what we said, obviously we've had a kind of very turbulent three or 4 years. We've basically lost, I think, in the space of 3 years, sort of the three. I don't want to sort of borrow the phrase "the three pillars," but like three real key members of the sort of the German renaissance of wrestling. I think, at least in this century. I think without Bad Bones, without Carsten, without Absolute Andy, I don't feel that wrestling would be the way it is in Germany now. The way the wonderful things we had, a couple of years ago, and yeah, it was a shock, and I say not some again. Once again, it was just kind of completely dumbfounded it even happened. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was that image did the rounds pretty quickly afterwards of the original 16 karat gold main event for 2016.
yeah,
Andy, Bad Bones, and Carsten Beck obviously like turned on the four-way. It's like that's probably the first match. No, I'd say in recent, no, first major match in recent European history where we're all gone, no longer with us, and it's like that really hit home. Carsten we lost come to 4 years ago now, and of course
yeah.
last November, and now Bad Bones. Um, we have news broke Monday evening. Passed away Monday morning, age of 40, and believes his first wedding anniversary, which wanting more tragedy on this, just that very happenstance of all that. Of course, former two times WXW Unified World Wrestling Champion, two times Shotgun Champion, two times World Tag Champ. He's been and done it all pretty much in Germany. At the peak, he was calling himself the best in Europe, and we'll go through some of the reinventions he's had. But I mean, he
Yeah,
worked all over the place. Big Japan, back when the WXW Big Japan tie-in was a big deal. Worked in America for Evolve, Beyond, CZW, IWA Mid South.
TNA. Yeah,
TNA. I remembered him on some of the European shows, and I thought, okay, cage match filled TNA. Chris Daniels, Josh Barnett, Grado. That's a right, list of three names just to save. But no, not even America, even over here in the UK, pretty big part of
yeah,
the scene. Um, IPW UK. I've been watching 2015 WXW. He was a big part of IPW there, won their world championship twice in
yeah.
2014. Southside, a pretty big part there. And this was weird. I know we're coming up to we spoke last episode we did about the Football Euro Championships. Not obviously the last one, but the one before we had everyone was doing like the World Cup wrestling
Yeah.
tournaments. Progress
I
did
went
one.
to three of them. I went to three of them in one summer.
Oh, which ones then?
I went to
Progress
Progress, yeah, Progress
is
World Cup. I did Southside World Cup in bed. It remains one of the more interesting things I've been to. And then obviously I think I did one of the. I feel like I swear I went to one of the What Culture ones as well. So
so
yeah,
because
he was
Bad
a very
Bones was
useful
part of all
person
three
because
roles.
he being a yeah, you can German
So
wrestle like Bad Bones on a UK show, and he can play the German heel on a World Cup thing.
So yeah, he's part of all of us. So start, the What Culture one. So this was back 2017 when they had that. It was almost like 5-star wrestling in terms of the size, but they did the like the local
It's
legs.
ridiculous,
So
wasn't
bad.
it?
So he's one of the qualifiers from the German legs, hosted by GWF. Him and Lucky Kid. And then when it came through to the actual tournament itself was Milton Keynes was the first day, and the second day was in Manchester. Lost in the first round to Pentrol Zero Major, Pentagon Junior, which there's a pair which you don't expect to see. Then, as you mentioned, the two other World Cups, and just trying to get the ordering here. So you had the Progress one. No, so the Progress one was 1st of June 2018.
Yeah.
They went out to eventually win Chuck Mambo in the semis. Um, God, some of the names I missed to him was a bit for what really? Like you had Adam Brooks, also Chuck Mambo, Naoki
Ollie Carter.
Tanizaki, David Francisco, Fake Ilya Dragunov, Ruslan, who I don't think anybody's ever heard of before or since, at least in terms of mainstream European wrestling. When you had the Southside World Cup, one you mentioned in Bedford, went out
Yeah.
again in the semis to eventually win a Dan Maloney. Bit for trend developing here. And then the following month, the Ringmaster tournament, what culture being rebranded to Defiant, he ended up winning the whole thing. That was the lineup included of likes again Adam Brooks, El Phantasmo, late Curtis Chapman, Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis. So pretty varied list of names there. But yeah, it was a spell for about a year or two. He was pretty much on every major tournament in Europe, or maybe not top line, but certainly a lot of noble tournaments, shall we say. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah. Very
pretty much
prolific.
tournament wrestling in the UK. But then, of course, Germany was where he made his name as bread and butter. Debuted WXW October 2005. Got the WXW heavyweight title as well as then beating Claudio Castagnoli in December 2008. He lost to Brian Danielson, of course, who then lose to Absolute Andy. I think it was it was the Carrot 2008 win that led to the Claudio match. That was one of the matches which WXW put up on, I think it was Tuesday night. Uh,
Yeah.
I guess, unfortunate tradition we've got now where wrestler passes very for a few matches. And it was pretty good. They put up four, but it was the fifth one because from Carsten Beck's passing was Carsten Beck, Bad Bones, and AJ Styles, Moberhausen. They threw up, so there's
Okay.
some unfortunate happenstance. We had Bones and Danielson. Actually, I wrote by this and I completely forgot which ones went up. It was Bones and Danielson that went up.
Yeah.
Um, then you also had, scrolling down, that fan
Ilya Bones
three-way,
went up as well.
Cody Rhodes one,
Yeah.
Ilya for
Class,
the
that one.
17th anniversary, then of course that coward main event, which we'll get to. Um, yeah, so going back, so after losing the title in early 2009, we had the Oberhausen Terror Corps, that's Bad Bones and Carnage. Fast forward to 2014, the first run of the Shotgun Belt, trading Preach with again, you go through cage match and WXW when they continue backfilling on WXW now. Some of the names are just absolutely batshit. Mason Ryan, like by 2014, he was long gone in terms of like he would been like released from WWE a few years back, but Mason Ryan for for 20 for a day back and forth. Um, then second run defend against Chris Masters, Brian Myers, Axel Tischer, amongst others. And then Carrot 2015, the Vladivostok rules match against Ilya, an absolute cracker which holds up to this day. That's where
Yeah.
that second run ended. And mentioned the first run of the unified belt, beating Carsten Beck in Hamburg, then losing back in Oberhausen, that fan weekender. And we were at Carrot for part of the Andy Hall of Fame induction. We talked about the Champions of Champions tag team, which ironically didn't even yield a tag title shot, which had to be some kind of inside joke they feel. But yeah, so you had that, and was it the WoW movement as well? That weird group they had, which they
Yeah.
tried to
It was
make a
a
thing, but
weird.
didn't really get anywhere.
It didn't go anywhere, but I think that was Damask, Bones.
Andy
Uh,
Marius
yeah, it kind of didn't go anywhere. But there was people. I know. Well, my very good friend Dan, who I mentioned a little bit later, but he went to Tagfest 2016 as part of the press prior to it sort of being a lot bigger. And apparently, Damac spent the whole weekend just going, "Wow." Uh,
Oh no.
so I don't know. That's the thing. That's the thing. He came back and he was like, "That was the thing we came back with." It was just wow.
They're
There you go.
trying to get that over, and yeah, I mean subliminal messaging
Yeah.
works, I guess. Like and subscribe. Yeah, so guess after then, as mentioned earlier, with 2016, Carrot, he was part of the main event there. The three-way returned from the four-way with Jörn Simmons, Shocking World, and leaving the title. Um, and yeah, it was kind of, I would say, a bit of a lull as you went through the kind of WoW movement. But some of 2017, I guess, is when, at least definitely in the UK, our core fan base, I guess, really bubbled up with the arrival of Rise. Was it what, May 2017? Young Lions
Yeah,
arrived. Chris Colin, Pete Bounce, even Kiev. Step forward to Shortcut for Top. Bad Bones in number one, and part was part of the one of the things at the time. You know, if you'd gone the distance, you don't do the whole match, and you get injured, and you go out and come back and fight, valiantly to the finish. Well, that happened there. Came out, wearing a t-shirt, bandaged up knee. Um, After eliminating David Starr, we ended up with Bad Bones, Kiev and Bouncer. Bones drops to his knees, signals Kiev and Bouncer eliminate themselves. Bones rips off his shirt, the Rise t-shirt underneath, and Bad Bones. He's the sixth man in Rise, and that was without being the weekend with Progress and
it was a
Cologne,
progress
because
weekend. If you look at some of the people in that that Royal Rumble, you're like, ooh,
oh yes, when I was clicking through, I mean, I was watched
yeah,
back some of the show to just remember how the finish went. Like, I was not going to go through the names, here, but
nice, yeah, yeah.
no, I mean, just going through,
That's
just looking through, it's like, ooh,
yeah,
oh, like that kind of thing. Like, it was just like a real roller coaster of, huh? Well, they were booked that match, and then yes, so a lot of names who only came because of the progress thing, and a bunch of
yeah,
names you wouldn't have, you're never going to see again for various reasons. So yeah, Bad Bones, the head of Rise, got rid of Chris Colin later in the year, but cashed him a title shot, beat Jörn Simmons at was the Fight Forever Tour Open a few months later. And then that was the Reign of Terror, of course, a lot of feuds going along, but the big one against Ilya Dragunov. Um,
yeah,
I had the was the match at the Tag Festival, where another Swerve Damac came in, stopped Bad Bones from using the belt, attacked him with the belt himself, and then it owned up to Tassilo Young ref to that he did it. And I think that was my first weekend, and that's one sort of weird things from matches you take away. I still remember to this day, after you knew the storyline going on, and it wasn't like Task going, "Did you do it?" And the Mac going, "Yes, I did." It was just the almost like the soulless, slow nod of the head, and then a second later, just hear Task going, "Fuck," and
yeah.
ringing the bell like that. You got the sense of we were this close to Rise being overthrown, and yeah, and of course the next night we had
There's
the
more.
return of Cerberus for one night and all that. That then built up to the anniversary show, 70th anniversary, with the addition of any interference meant Bad Bones not only lost, but he lost the title. And, I remember back then, it felt like they're really going to do it. Illy's really going to win this time because they did the whole three parts documentary on
Yeah,
Shotgun, which, NXT UK and NXT's copied to a point. We're expected to be on Raw in a few months' time. Where it was really, the real big insight into Ilya the man, what he grew up
yeah,
through, the strife and all that. And then he just lost.
yeah. And
And,
that anniversary match was just was just I think that is probably I think even to this day, I genuinely think that is probably one of Ilya's best matches.
yeah,
At least the best, one of the best independent matches. And as I say, I won't admit to being somebody who's watched a hell of a lot of him in WWE, but I think it's definitely one of the best. It's recommend a view in not just for for the tribute purposes, but genuinely, it's a very very good match.
I mean, no, you can't admit you've seen him against Javon Evans, but by the by, I mean, I think just the way that whole thing was packaged up, because they set it up as, end of the year, we're going to celebrate, Illy's going to get the big win, and then just be such a soul crushing, oh, he lost, and then, watching on the VOD, the fact they closed with, was it, thank you, Illy, and then they, the whole, he's gone, Matt said he was taken off the roster page. It was like,
Yeah,
wow, is that really it? And of course, history shows wasn't, New Year, Rise. They had the Kayfix Schlacht. They lost to Monster Consulting and Ring Camp, I guess, like the All Star team then. And then 16 Karat Gold 2018, the clip did the rounds again. Walter and Bad Bones was the main event, but Walter was going to pick a stipulation, and then I've got I've got a favourite since 17th anniversary. John, you've run roughshod, really badly translated. These matches on three-way dance, and then
Yeah.
the roof blown off a turbine. To this day, I'll watch that and I get goosebumps. Like, we're what, 6 years on from that?
Oh
The
yeah,
fact that
yeah,
still doing the rounds is like, apeshit moments from indie wrestling Twitter accounts, and it's true then, it's true now. And I
yeah.
think,
Every now and again, I'll just post the video. Just like,
yeah,
why not?
I mean, we were both there live, and
Yeah,
it was absolute mayhem. Watching back on demand, you get the clip, and I think it would be was either Catch or Sear doing yesterday, men, and you see like these brief, like second long, if that clips of Klingers, on the apron, kneeling on
yeah.
the corner, just looking
That
absolutely stood like,
that
what
that
the
face, his face is one of the best reaction pictures you can post on Twitter.
yeah.
Yeah,
It wasn't like a corny, oh my god, he's back. Oh no, it was like genuine terror, genuine. I thought I was done with this guy. He's back. What the hell do I do now? And of course, that was the biggest Carrot main event at the time. Um, Definitely one a lot of people go back to. Of course, we all know Ilya won the belt. Next day, they had Mac and Bad Bones win the tag titles. I guess to kind of, I don't say soothe things in terms of like egos, but to try and keep them in the picture rather than just be like, you lose, you're gone, farewell. Unfortunately, by the end of the month, Bad Bones no longer even with WXW.
yeah,
So WXW in London, they had another show on Cuttenholtz. They had a split
yeah,
rosters, Bad Bones on the German side. They never said what happened, so just say something happened and
yeah,
they cut ties.
yeah,
So end of Bad Bones, March 2018 in WXW. Of course, quickly popped up in GWF from Berlin. I think it was May 2018 as part of the Mystery Mayhem shows, became a regular. But then the next big group you had it was a year later. So won the Mystery Mayhem like tag match, and then main event won the GWF World title, beating Tarkan Aslan with some help from Orlando Sylvan and Kashmir Erkan, now Erkan Sultani, the formation of a Blutsbruder, which, that's still going in GWF today.
yeah,
Also, big group. And yeah, we've had names swapping in and out. I mean, who's it? Evil Jazz Bloodhound Gang. Like, none of the rest of
yeah.
me does
Evil
rest every
Jared
now and then.
Hasselhoff. Yeah,
Which, right, I remember seeing that in the Cage Master listings, and like, it's like, oh, Evil Jared Hasselhoff's like, is that like an in joke? Nope. I mean, I'm not big into Bloodhound Gang, so yeah, so shoot me. Um, I mean, that run, the initial run of the GWF title, beating Tarkan, went for over 2.5 years. I mean, got a pandemic to thank for some of that, but there was a load of names. You'd be like, Angelico, Carlito, Sense of Alto, Lucky Kids, obviously across the pandemic. Lost the belt to Axel Tischer in November of 2021, but of course, Blutsburger kept going. Um, Even though there was a rotating lineup when the Kurtovi, the, like the vests, one better word, won the tag belts with Tarkan Aslan, April 2022. Uh, Traded with Itouch and Chem Kaplan. What they called in GWF? Group Anarchy, isn't it?
yeah. Group Anarchy.
The
Yeah,
group. So trading back and forth then. Had another run back end of last year with Klinger, this time teaming with Erkan Sultani, beating Peter Tahani and Fast Time Mood. There's a wild swing, beating Crazy Sexy Mike and Ronaldo Shaki for the first run to Peter Tahani and Fast Time Mood to start the last run. They lost them to Sunshine Machine, TK Cooper, and Chuck Mambo Inflation. There's just a mixer of names.
it
Um,
is one thing I do love about GW. We don't talk about GWF, but the random variety of wrestlers that are thrown together in GWF, it always does make me smile.
Yeah, I mean,
It,
like this
y-
past weekend, they had that light heavyweight thing, and meant to have had Robbie Exum, but you had
yeah,
Agel Blanc, you had Mood or Tim Stumel. It's just at their most batshit, like when we do the their version of the battleground, you
yeah,
just
the
get this
Rumble thing. Yeah,
weird mix. And it's like again, like sort of do the same thing, but it's like just this weird, grab whoever's around, but it still somehow kind of makes sense. But anyway, 2024, there's rumblings of retirement too for Bad Bones, and I guess that kind of started to coincide with like him. I don't call it a losing run, but weren't winning as much in
Yeah,
GWF. Um, and I mean, this past weekend said they had the light heavyweight World Cup show. Uh, Bones wasn't part of it, but Solchani was. He won a four-way for a shot at the world title that Mike DeVecchio holds. That's for a shot next weekend. And boy, that match now has got a lot more motion and just poignancy behind it before this. But I mean, outside GWF, Bones, was working, everywhere else. I mean, I think as I mentioned you, he worked in Poland like literally a week before his passing against Flash Morgan Webster of all people, which again, talking about a smorgasbord of names, but week before he dropped the East Side Revolution belt in Dresden to Methan.
yeah,
So it was a mixture of he wasn't dropping every single belt. Like he's still, well, I don't know what they're doing, but now there's the Art of Wrestling promotion in Czechia. He beat or
yeah,
defended against Lawrence Roman back in March. So yeah, so he's still going on. It wasn't like one last time I'm losing on every number. He was losing a lot more than you'd expect, but it wasn't a I'm here to lose and then wave goodbye and some mass few t-shirts. But
yeah,
yeah, certainly active to the very end, and the fact that celebrating his birthday, his wedding anniversary, and then
yeah,
just to go like that, it's just absolutely saddening. And like post like somebody we were talking about the reinventions, like the Blutsburger and GWF. The
yeah,
other reinvention he did was, as I know he got pelters for this in some
yeah,
circles, was the I want to say, but like the Macho Man tribute thing was like heavily inspired by Randy Savage. I mean, you look on his SL Wrestling. I mean, the guy had a
yeah.
load of t-shirts like the badness. It's
Uh,
like I think I
I,
point out here like the just the weirdness of dying on the anniversary of Macho Man Randy Savage as well, with when that was the last non-GWF gimmick, I guess you'd call it. Just
yeah,
so like the timing of Quinn's just so weird.
yeah, for sure. And I think the badness gimmick. I don't. I will not pretend I liked it or particularly loved it, but obviously it's. I think it really speaks to. We've kind of run through the career, but I think if more than anything, I don't think I've ever seen anyone who just kind of loved the business of like wrestling and being a wrestler and living the gimmick and things. I feel like that's one. If I was to sort of use one phrase to sort of describe him, it would just be like unrelentingly professional. It was just like it was always it. I think it was always work. He was always switched on, no matter who if he was talking, inside or outside the ring. And I think when you sort of live like that, it's it's it creates a very sort of you can become a very creative person. And I think the badness thing, um it was a it was a very, very blatant macho man um sort of homage, but at the same time he did sort of manage to make it work, and was very popular, I think, at least domestically. I
For
didn't
certain audience, I think
Yes,
more for like, shall we
it was
say, I don't want to say like a casual crowd, but like
the
the
family.
South Side
Yeah,
crowd,
yeah,
it really connected. But
yeah.
for
If
like
you if you
GWF,
brought
obviously,
the
we had a different act, yeah.
if you brought the badness out in yeah, because I think I saw him do the badness gimmick. I saw it in Cult, definitely, and I think I saw it in uh I saw it in Southside when they run the Resistance Gallery versus Irie. I saw it. I think he worked to get that gimmick there as well. Um, yeah, it works. It did work. I think it's something I don't think would have ever gone over in WXW at all. But yeah, it was yeah, it was an interesting gimmick. But yeah, I think just kind of all in all, I think that would kind of be my overarching sort of thought of him. It was just he was just sort of. I was very lucky to have a chance to actually work with him quite closely. So I don't know if anybody you may or may not know. I used to work on a student radio station called Rock Bottom Radio on Radiolab in Luton, University of Bedfordshire, and we had a wrestling talk show. It was myself, Dan Jones, who used to be a very big part of Wrestling Twitter, Laura O'Leary as well, among many other people, including podcasters who now have big championship podcasts as well. But we were very lucky to get Bad Bones and Jazzy Gabber as guests on our show, like live-in guests, as we'd sort of developed a sort of a relationship with. This is a blast from the past, the El Snow Wrestling Academy in London. I don't know if you remember that, Ian.
Very vague memories. I know post-pandemic they kept going. I think they eventually banned. But yeah, also
Yeah.
having this worldwide wrestling academy now, it's
Yes.
still VW now, isn't it?
Yes, effectively. So Bad Bones and Jazzy were John and Jazzy were they were sort of the initial sort of head coaches, I think, head European coaches among a few other people, and we was very lucky to be able to sort of interview him and work with him quite closely. And he was an absolutely lovely person. He was always professional. Like I think he would never he he was old school in the sense of like you wouldn't there's the video of the I think is in when the announcer goes to when they go to Kuwait and who is it, Vader?
Yeah.
Vader. uh, I
Took
don't. I think
exception to certain question, and
I feel like if somebody had done something similar to John, he probably would have done the same.
yeah, don't ask if it's real.
Yeah, and my dear friend Dan, who was the host, he did do he took a chop from Bones off, and there was a video on Periscope. Unfortunately, I think it's lost to Periscope forever now, unfortunately. But there's a video of him being chopped by Bad Bones, and without a word of a lie, he had the handprint on his chest for a week. It was something I always remember, and it was and he was just an all round lovely person. And I think he was a very key person. I think in at least getting Rock Bottom Radio, but myself and Dan, he was a very welcoming person. He helped us get over to WXW, and I think probably without that, I wouldn't be talking on this show now. He was probably through research of we have a German wrestler on. Michael, do some research from sort of Dan. The first WXW match I have strong memories of ever watching, apart from old stuff, would have been Absolute Andy versus Bad Bones from Anniversary 2015. And I kind of watched that match and I was like, okay, this is good stuff. This is good stuff, and as a result, now here I am.
History.
Here I am just under a decade later, and it's still there. As I said, there was a moment where I think it was at Carrot 2017 where he'd had quite a heavy match. I think in the first round. I can't remember who he had first round in 15, but he was winded. He wasn't. I don't think he was 100% happy about something that had happened in one of the matches, and he comes up to the sort of the old balcony. Was you at 2017, Carrot?
No, what 2018 is the first one, but I know
Yeah,
what you mean.
yeah.
First round 2017, by the way, would have been Paul London, which
It might not have been Paul London then. It might have been the Cody match, maybe, I don't know. But he came up and he basically he laid on the floor and he coughed blood basically because he'd been so intense in that match. and it's just like, it was always, even, I don't think he ever, like, at least when he was in WXW, it was always like intense. And um, yeah, I think there's I could probably name about 25 matches, which I would say, these are the definitive Bones matches to watch. Maybe that's something we could maybe do another day. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it's a great loss to the business, and I think we were. I feel sad that we maybe didn't get the the uh, the Rise storyline ever paid off. I think we've always said that that's probably the biggest missed opportunity in
Yeah.
WXW history. I think, uh, unfortunately, it never came to be for whatever reason. But yeah, I think, all in all, I can't I can't I can't sort of put into words sort of how important I think he is, at least in my fandom as a wrestler. I wouldn't. I would say he's maybe occasionally been a wrestler who I think people have knocked. I think maybe not the most fashionable of wrestlers. Um, but yeah, I think for me, who has always, whenever I've sort of seen him, he's always been a very, very sort of personable person. And yeah, he's a great loss, I think, to wrestling. I think wrestling is a poorer place without him.
Speaking of, so obviously covered this past year, we do like the media lunches, and I don't do full media like we used to, but let's do like
Yeah,
a get together, and Matthew Botchmania was part of it, and he told the story then. He's put it on Twitter, so I don't feel so bad relaying it. Between like last time I saw him, it was Carrot 2019. I just used the toilet and bumped into him. He wanted to shake my hand. I told him it was still wet due to lack of hand dries. Turbine, I'll fully believe it. He said sternly, and I'm not going to attempt an accent, I don't care if it's piss, shake my hand. We shaked, he grinned, then walked away. Sounds about right. We had a couple of
yeah,
like memes people sent in. So Honeycake Man on the Backbody Drop account mentioned he met me only once in January, talked to him after he explained he would retire soon. I knew I wouldn't see him again, so I thanked him for his contribution to the sport and how important he was for German wrestling. It was indeed a farewell. So glad I did it. And I think, if Andy, last year, Bad Bones now, I think a lot of people who maybe weren't in the mindset of the mood of a kind of person who'd be the always take photos people. I think now we're getting to the point where
yeah,
it's really hitting home. Your
yeah.
tomorrows aren't ever guaranteed. But one last thing I do want to mention, because I'm going to mention this, and I was looking for this, and unfortunately the directory now back catalogue hasn't gone back this far. Slam Mania 2013 in Mannheim. Have you seen this match?
I don't know what you're referring to. You might have to
Okay,
remind me.
so this was on the old WXW now.
Okay.
Um, so this one, I'm just making sure I'm getting the right date here. So apologies for clicking. I have seen it, but this back before I was actually reviewing all the stuff. October 2013, the 13th anniversary tour went to the Alta in Mannheim for a show they called Slam Mania. It was mid card. It was a tables, lads, and chairs match between Emil Satoshi and John Klinger. Tables, lads, and chairs. And to say everything went to shit would be an understatement. Like, and the match isn't online yet.
I
I
do need to
think
see this.
it's not online. Unfortunately, I think Disco King Frank, if you're listening, find that and upload it if only just for posterity. Because it wasn't like a botchman. Oh ha ha, wasn't that funny? Like in the end, Emil and Bones literally just walked out of the match because stuff was literally falling. Like with climb a ladder, would crumble, a table just fall to pieces. I was just one of these. If you imagine, like, it probably would be much mentioned, but like, I mean, we've seen Progress Wembley when we did the TLC match and nothing broke. This is the polar opposite of it. Like the set of table would just crumble underneath the point where it was just an absolute farce. Um, something like this, you probably go one of three ways: either muddle through and keep going until you find a table something that breaks. You throw a hissy fit walk or a F face, or you do a or make meet in the middle and go, this isn't safe. Now I want to beat you, but I don't want to hurt you this badly, and just call it off. And that's where they end up going. I think, um, at least from what I'm between, they end up redoing the match following year. But yeah, just in terms of European wrestling and certainly gimmick matches like that, we European wrestling doesn't have a great record. I still have very vivid memories of the Rise table match that did make Botchamania a few years back. But that was one of the things I just wanted to bring up. But there is for up there is a GoFundMe for John's family. Things that GWF tweeted out and all the wrestlers. Um, Smashed with a target of €15,000 in the first 24 hours, and that's still going. Of course, money going to John's widow and family. And early this evening, Blacksmith, the company that do like the wrestling football shirts,
Yeah.
they've announced they're going to release the, I guess, like the concept shirt they had for Bones, which I think don't know if they ever sold or if it's a reissue, but they're putting back on sale again. Proceeds going to his family. So if you head over to their Twitter account, website, you'll be able to pre-order. But yeah, I guess, Mike, any last memories or any closing thoughts before we wrap up for this particular episode?
No, not hugely. I think as I think I said something similar on the Andy one, but I think one of the sadly one of the things that is sometimes quite nice in a way when these things happen is that you do get an outpouring of wonderful stories, and there's been things I've seen over the last couple of days which I've really enjoyed. It always gives you a chance to sort of go back and maybe reassess things, that you might not have seen for a long time, and it's yeah, it's say it's I think we've been very very unfortunate in European wrestling. We lost Carsten at 33, Andy at 40, John Klinger at 40. It's it's a horrible thing, but unfortunately, these things do happen. Yeah, just I think more than anything, just to make sure you tell the people that you do enjoy their work. Make sure that they do know that you love their work, and I think because um, you don't know what is coming at always, and yeah, ultimately, just say what a wonderful wrestler, what a wonderful man, and it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure working with him, and a pleasure to watch him, and pleasure to know him. So
Couldn't put it
thanks,
better
man.
myself. Again, we'll be back soon with a separate episode for the recent Hamburg show. But Bad Bones John Klinger, ruined treat, my friend. Cheers.